Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our online session, The Evolution of the Job Market, Careers in a New Normal. My name is Omita Jagannath, and I'm a Customer Service Officer at the Business Development and Communication Department of the National Training Agency. As we remind you, the National Training Agency is the leading body responsible for the coordination of all technical and vocational education and training, TVET, in Trinidad and Tobago. I have the esteemed pleasure of moderating today's session, which is designed with you, our valued stakeholders, in mind. The NTA remains dedicated to providing content aimed at providing support as we all continue to navigate the way forward in the new normal. As I mentioned, today's topic is the evolution of the job market, careers in the new normal. We'll be joined by Ms. Lerielle Cole Pierre, Regional Marketing Manager at CaribbeanJobs.com. Today, Ms. Cole Pierre will focus on how jobs are changing in light of COVID-19, job roles and industry trends, critical jobs in 2021, as well as online job search tips. Ms. Cole Pierre possesses over 15 years' experience in marketing, branding, digital advertising, event planning, fashion, and retail management. She has worked for many years in the Bahamas and Canada and now leads the marketing department for the region's top online recruitment platform in Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, and the English-speaking Caribbean. Moreover, she's passionate about culture and its representation in brand development. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome Ms. Lerielle Cole Pierre. Welcome, Ms. Lerielle Cole Pierre.
Thank you so much, Amita. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Trinidad. Good morning, Caribbean. It's such a pleasure to be here with you guys today, and thank you so much for that warm welcome. I'm most happy to be joining you guys today. So as Amita would have mentioned, today I'm going to be chatting with you guys on the evolution of the job market, careers in the new normal. So we're going to explore quite a few things today. I'm quite happy, as I said, to be joining you guys. And just to note, I love questions. So make sure your pen and your paper is out so that we can have a very vibrant Q&A session at the end. All right. So if you guys would allow me, I have a presentation to share with you guys today. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So sounds good. All right, so let me know when you guys are all set. You can see my screen, and I can go ahead. Yeah, all right. So as mentioned, we're going to be chatting today on the evolution of the job market, careers in the new normal. Just a quick recap of what we'll be covering today. So we're going to first talk a little bit about job roles and industry trends that we are actually seeing coming out of COVID-19 over the last 12 months. I'm going to give you guys 10 critical job skills you'll need in 2021 and beyond. I'm also going to give you guys some do's and don'ts and online job search tips. And then we're going to wrap it up by showing you guys how to use the platform CaribbeanJobs.com to aid in your job search success. All right, so before we dive in, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit about CaribbeanJobs.com. I'm hoping that you guys would have heard about us before, but if you haven't, we are an online recruitment tool. What we do is advertise jobs available here in Trinidad as well as throughout the English-speaking Caribbean. We have been in existence now going on 16 years, believe it or not. We started in 2005. And what we aim to do is really bridge the gap or be that middle person between you guys, which are, top highly qualified professionals with top employers in the region. So that's what our platform does. Again, it's CaribbeanJobs.com, and we're going to get into that just a little bit more later in the presentation. So I'm going to start by just reviewing a couple of job roles and industry trends that we have been seeing over the course of the last 12 months. As we know, COVID-19 has really changed the way we work, the way we talk, the way we do school. Basically, our entire lives have now changed thanks to COVID-19. I mean, I'm sure traditionally pre-COVID, we would have been somewhere in studio and I would have had a meter right in front of me for this session, but now we are obviously doing it remotely. So what we know is that the name essential workers have changed, and so too have the types of roles that are hiring, the types of industries that are hiring, and even the way that we are applying for jobs and going through the recruitment process has changed a little bit in the last 12 months. So what I'm going to do now over the course of the next 2 slides is show you some of those trends that we're seeing in terms of job roles as well as industries that are hiring. So let's first look at top roles that we have been seeing in demand over the last 12 months. And I should premise this by saying this is indicative of not just here in Trinidad and even the Caribbean, but these are global trends that we are seeing. We are fortunate enough, CaribbeanJobs.com, to be part of a global network. Our parent company is Seon Group out of Ireland, then owned by Stepstone Atlantic. And so these are actually trends, as I've said, that we're seeing on a global scale. So when we look at some of the top roles that are now in demand, we're looking at things like sales. When you think sales in the traditional sense, you may think calling, you may think door-to-door sales, but now thanks to COVID-19, sales and particularly online sales or telesales has seen a big boost in terms of a role that is being well sought after. So too are web developers. When you think now that everyone has to have an online presence, everyone has to have a website or some sort of platform that they can be reached in terms of their virtual community, now the need for web developers are actually seeing a big boost in the last 12 months. So too are cybersecurity specialists. And what that is, when you think about, okay, you go onto a website, let's say an Amazon, and you're looking to make a purchase and you're plugging in your personal information, whether that is your credit card, your birthday, personal information about you. You want to ensure that the website that you are plugging in this information is safe. You want to ensure that your information is secured. And so now more than ever, the need for cybersecurity specialists has been a big trend that we've seen over the course of the last 12 months. Naturally, project management is something that has also seen a boost. And that's because now that we are working remotely and doing a lot of things virtually, the need for persons to actually manage that entire project, whether it's in person still or virtual, has seen a big boost. Then I think it goes without saying health and safety officers. Everywhere when you think about if you're physically in the workplace or if you're going into a store and you need to be sanitized, you need to ensure that you're adhering to social distancing. The need for health and safety officers is also a big trend that we have seen over the last 12 months. Online marketers and content creators. So I would say for this one, I'm particularly excited about this. Obviously, I'm in marketing and, this is one that really excites me. But when you think about a website that you go onto or a social media platform, all of the content that you are seeing and engaging with, whether it is an image, a video that you are seeing, even as simple as a caption on a post, those things had to come from somewhere. Someone had to create that. And when you think about now how every business or most businesses have an online presence, they need to hire an online marketer or content creator to be able to put all of that into a platform that its users can read and digest and engage with quite easily. Then education specialist is another top role that we've seen in the last 12 months because naturally now teachers have always been in demand, but now particularly with virtual schooling or remote schooling, that's also a role that's quite popular. Admin assistants, I think that is considered an essential service that will always be, the backbone of the organization, keeping things in order. And then counselors and consultants, with the big wave of mental health issues that are coming up or just trying to navigate through a pandemic, the need for counselors and consultants have also been seeing quite a boost. So I thought it's useful to share. I should say that these are not an exclusive list. So that doesn't mean there are not other roles that are being well sought after, but these are just some of the top roles that we've seen in demand over the last 12 months. So as you start to, for those of you guys that are now thinking about developing your careers, or even some of you that are in your careers already and you're thinking of a career switch, you may want to keep these in mind as you navigate through your career journey. All right, so we did top roles. So now let's look at top industries, because if you may not have been in a specific role that I just covered, let's look at overall industries now that have seen such a big boost over the last 12 months. Naturally, IT would probably be leading the pack in terms of a top industry that's hiring now. We've seen such a big boost, even on CaribbeanJobs.com, the amount of applications that we're getting for jobs within the IT space, and the amount of roles that are now becoming available in the IT space has really been a big industry. So when you start to think about your experience or even your interest as you start to develop your careers, you may want to start thinking of these industries in terms of where the opportunities are lying. Then finance is something, whether it's an accountant, a financial controller, whatever it is, this space has always been in demand. And I think that it will continue to be for quite some time. Then pharmacies and pharmaceuticals. So naturally, with a global pandemic directly related to our health, pharmacies and pharmaceuticals have been an industry that has seen quite a big boom with medication needing to be made and distributed. So that is also a great opportunity in terms of an industry if you'd like to get involved in that. Teleworking software. Again, when I spoke to the idea of sales now being online or via the telephone, this is an industry where the software and the teleworking software has really big opportunities. Groceries has been one of the core essential services. Just think back to maybe 11 months ago when we were on lockdown. One of the main things that remained open were groceries, because people have to eat. So naturally, that industry has seen a big boom of hiring staff to be able to meet the demand of so many people coming in. Delivery companies, this may not be an area that you think about as a traditional room for employment, but with so many people now online and shopping and needing to have their items delivered to them, delivery companies has really seen a big stretch in terms of, opening the opportunities for jobs available in that space. Cleaning and janitorial companies, again, another given, knowing that everywhere needs to be sanitized. Everyone needs to ensure that, they are adhering to the COVID-19 protocols. But this is not just, when you think about cleaning and janitorial companies, don't just think about the persons that are there on the ground cleaning the spaces, but think about people that have to make sanitizers or make the machines that the sanitizers and the thermometers have to be produced. Think about the opportunities there. So again, depending on your line of study and your interest, this could be another industry that possesses lots of opportunities for you. And then last but not least, educational institutes. Again, the need for education and the way that we are learning is also quite different. But this industry as well has seen a big boom in the last 12 months. So those just give you an idea of some of the trends that we've been seeing over the last 12 months. I will repeat that this is not an exclusive list, but these are just some of the top industries that have been hiring that we've seen here in Trinidad as well as on a global scale. All right. Okay, great. So now let's look at, now that we know the types of industries and the types of roles that are hiring, let's look at important skills for the changing world of work. And this is going to be important whether you are at entry level, now entering into the workforce, you've been there and you're at a mid-management role, or you're at the top-notch senior level. These are critical skills that will really assist you not just in your day-to-day on-the-job responsibilities, but overall as a seasoned professional as you move along your career. So let's take a look now at 10 critical job skills that every job seeker is going to need in 2021. So the first is obviously your technical skill. We know that, when you are in university and you get your degree and then you are on the job and you're getting your working experience, the level of technical skill that you bring to your job is obviously needed. That is going to be the first step into getting into the door and landing that dream job that you are looking for. But then another top skill that you're going to need in 2021 and beyond is critical thinking. And critical thinking, what is that? When you start to assess what is critical thinking and how is this going to help me in my role of being a seasoned professional? And essentially, critical thinking is just that, looking at a task that is set in front of you and not just doing it to say that you're getting it done, but actually applying your knowledge, applying your technical skill, applying your work experience, and really breaking down that task to ensure that you not just complete it, but you don't miss any facets of completing that task. And being able to have a problem that's in front of you and really break it down to assess it, and then ultimately to complete the task that you've been given. And then problem solving. So especially now, thanks to COVID, I think no matter which job that you are in, no matter which role, no matter which industry, you will always be presented with a problem or a challenge that needs to be solved. So employers don't want to hear, oh, I don't know how to do this, or I can't solve this. What they don't want you to come to them with a problem. They want you to come to them with a solution. So then you're going to use your technical skill. You're going to match that with critical thinking, and then you're going to strengthen your ability to solve problems. Let yourself be that person on the job that doesn't bring problems to the table, you bring solutions. So when you start working on those skills, you then become such a valuable asset to your organization, and you then lend more than just your technical experience to the job that you're in. Teamwork. Now, believe it or not, and contrary to popular belief, at some point or the other, whether you are now working remotely at home by yourself or you are still in the office working with a number of your colleagues, teamwork is a critical skill that every single job seeker should master. Because at one point or another, whether it is at the beginning of your career, whether you are 10 years in, or whether you are at a senior level position, you will at some point have to work in teams. And so your ability to master teamwork will ensure that you become an invaluable asset, not just to the organization, but to your colleagues around you. So you'd want to ensure that you can master teamwork as much as possible. And of course, this is layered, because depending on your role and depending on the project that you're working on, you're going to be contributing to this team in a different way. But just ensure that you can work well with individuals, to critically think, and to, of course, solve those problems. Professionalism. Again, another one that will be useful regardless if you are now entering into the world of work or you are all the way up at the top and you've gotten to your dream job. To maintain your level of professionalism, that goes with how you speak to people, how you respond to emails, but also how you dress, how you present yourself, how you are really portraying that seasoned professional, how you are portraying somebody that represents a well-structured, well put together organization. So ensure that, you master your professionalism as much as possible. And of course, I should say that these things will change as you navigate your career journey, because what a professional may look like to you, at year 1 in the job may be fundamentally different than what it would look like in year 5, but just maintaining a positive attitude, maintaining a clean, a very presentable appearance will help to go a long way. Self-management. Self-management is another great critical skill, because if you're anything like me, my organization now is about 90% working remotely. And so you have to have the ability to ensure that you can get the job done without somebody physically there looking at you, or, pulling you in a meeting or asking you, have you completed your tasks? Your ability to manage yourself and still be an effective employee and make sure that you can get the job done without having to have a constant manager over you, that will help to go a long way. And what self-management also allows you to do is be responsible and take ownership of your tasks so that your manager can know that this individual can be trusted to complete their jobs and this individual will be a valuable asset to the organization. And it also allows you to qualify maybe, in the short to medium term for a leadership role if you display great self-management. The next critical skill, I think we are at number 7, is resilience. And what resilience means is essentially being able to bounce back if something isn't quite going your way. So you're met with a challenge and, you may not have dealt with it in the best possible way, or you may have applied for a job you didn't get through. You really thought you had the job, you didn't get through. You're quite disappointed, but then you don't stay there. It's okay to experience it in the moment, but the most important thing is that you're bouncing back and you're still going ahead and you're still pushing forward. And I think that out of, all of these that we've covered so far, resilience is going to take you quite a long way through your career in the long term, because think about our lives in the last 12 months. How many people have lost jobs or unable to find work? And the important thing is to remain resilient, remain positive, and pushing forward so that you don't get stuck where you are. You're continuously bouncing back and you're continuously pushing forward. So resilience is another great skill that every job seeker is going to need now and beyond. Leadership. And leadership, when you think leadership, traditionally as a job seeker, maybe you're not yet employed or you're now starting into the job market. And you think, well, I can't be a leader because, my role is an entry level role, or my role is a supervisory role. But I will tell you that leadership can be applied to every single job seeker and every single professional. So you can be a leader amongst your peers. You can be a leader amongst your department or even in your organization. You don't necessarily have to have a management or a senior level role to be a leader, because a leader is really displaying actions or displaying qualities that will show your colleagues around you that you are someone that can be trusted, you are someone that can be looked up to, and you are someone that can be inspired and really change the organization in a positive way. The next critical skill is reframe. So it kind of goes hand in hand with resilience, just that ability to switch your thinking a little bit. So if something is not working quite well and you want to change the outcome, if you've been presented with a challenge and you want to flip that around in a positive way, changing the way that you think, reframing your scenario or your challenge or your situation or the task that is in front of you to ensure a positive outcome is really only going to be beneficial to you in the long run. All right. And the last but surely not least critical job skill is communication. And communication, I think this happens as a critical skill, whether or not we are on the jobs, because as we know, communication can help us in our personal relationships. It can help us with our extracurricular activities, just life in general. Being able to master how to communicate and what to communicate is a skill that will really take you through your career journey. So communication communication is not only what you are saying, but it's also how you are delivering. So think about, obviously we'll think about our grammar and our spelling and, being able to frame a great email or a great, having a great telephone conversation, but it's also in our tone, in our delivery, knowing the people that you are engaging with and speaking to, and being able to shape your delivery based on the individual that you are speaking to. So these are just some 10, like I said, it's just 10. There's so many more skills that you can need. But I think as we move through and as we're seeing all of these trends in the job markets, and in our position at Caribbean Jobs, we have the benefit of engaging with both employers and employees. So these are some of the top skills that are going to really help every single job seeker, as I said, as you navigate through your career journey 2021 and beyond. All right. So really quickly, what I'm going to do now is some online job search tips, because look at where we are. We are in a virtual world now, and so too has the recruitment process gone online. So it's not just exclusive to some of those jobs we covered before, but now when you think about how the way in which you are looking and applying for jobs now in a COVID-19 space, you have to be ready for things when you are online. And so I'm going to share with you 10 top do's and don'ts. I like 10 if you can't figure that out by now. But I'm going to share with you 10 top 10 do's and don'ts when you are doing online job searches. So the first thing you want to do is do research the company that you are applying for. Check their website for details, and don't call the company to get information that is available online. So when you research a company, you do a number of different things. One, nobody wants to go into an organization that does not fit within their own, personal preferences and their own mission and vision. You want to ensure that the company is every bit a match for you as you are a match for them. So you want to research the company, look at their mission, look at their vision, look at their employees, look to really see if this is a company that you would like to spend 8 hours every day with for 5 to 6 days a week. You want to ensure that you are also well versed in the company so that when you are selected from the application process to the interview process, you have a lot of talking points. The company can see that you are interested, that you are invested, that you are actually doing your due diligence to do your research on the company. It just makes for a great conversation, an excellent interview, and it shows that you are applying yourself to the role that you are applying for. So ensure that you research the company that you are applying to. The second do is send a cover letter that is specific to the job that you're applying for. Is this mandatory? No, but think about, let's see if I can give you an example. Let's say you walk into a retail store and you get a warm welcome. Welcome, thanks for stopping by. How can we help you today? And then you go along into the store and you continue your shopping. Doesn't that set the tone for the experience that you will have with that store, shopping in that store? Now, if you didn't get it, of course, you're still going to go in the store and you're still going to pick up whatever you need. But having that intro, having that welcome really sets the tone for the experience that you're about to have. So a cover letter kind of works in that same way for employers, because employers, I will tell you, go through hundreds of job applications, particularly if these are very popular roles. Employers, I can tell you as a fact in dealing with our website, one job can give them 400 to 500 applications. So you'd imagine the speed at which employers are going through resumes. But if they see something that stands out, if they get a welcome, hi, welcome, it really starts to set the tone and really will only work in your benefit for trying to move along through the recruitment process. So a cover letter is definitely necessary. The next point is do read through the job description and tailor your resume for each job you're applying for. And similar to the company that you're researching, you want to ensure that you read through the job that you're applying for, because you don't want to then apply for a job, don't read through it, and then when you get to the interview, you either aren't qualified or you aren't interested fully in what the job is offering. You're wasting the employer's time and you're also wasting your own time. So ensure that you do the due diligence beforehand, reading through the job description. That's going to be critically important. But also look through the job description and tailor your resume to that. Because if an employer is looking for specific information in their job description and you possess those qualities or those experiences, you want to pull that out and make sure that is seen straight away so that the employer, again, just remember, an employer takes about, I would say, 3 to 5 seconds looking at a resume. And you want to be able to catch their attention right away so that they know you're qualified for the job. So don't leave out your contact information on your resume. Believe it or not, we see it all the time. A well-crafted resume, great application, but the employer has no way of contacting you. So always ensure that you have a number or contact information where you can be reached, but don't include unnecessary information in your CV. So if it doesn't apply to the job that you're applying for, leave it out. The next point is do be honest. It's really important to speak truthfully on your resume because the truth will come out. Even if it doesn't come out in your application, it can come out in your interview, or worse, it can come out when you're actually hired for the job. And this can actually impact you becoming a full-time employee. So be honest. If there are gaps in your resume, if you're unemployed, if you were let off, if this information is requested, be upfront and let them know. But also in doing that, be prepared to answer that question honestly. Why have you been unemployed, or what have you been doing in the time frame to ensure that you build that rapport with the employer? The fifth tip is do pay attention to keywords and place them in your resume. Again, reading through the job description, ensuring that keywords, so if an employer is asking for someone with excellent time management, or the ability to manage teams, and that is one of your key strengths, ensure that that is quite visible so that they know, listen, this is a great candidate to consider for that role. The sixth, do keep your social media updated and appropriate. Listen, we are living in an age now where everything is online and you are simply a Google search away. So you do not want the worst thing to have a great application, and then when the employer goes through to do their due diligence, they find, less than professional images scattered across social media that will not only not misrepresent you, but misrepresent the organization if you are hired. So ensure that your social media profiles are updated with clean, professional content. If it is that you have a personal social media profile that you'd like to do just that, keep it personal, then make sure the account is private so that if an employer searches and you come up, they won't be able to see your content. Just be mindful of this because employers will go on social media. They will go on Google to look for you. So you want to be able to take control of your own narrative. Number 7, do have a professional email address that reflects business. It's quite sad that I still have to be saying this in 2021, but the reality is we get tons of applications that come through with less than professional email addresses, whether it's sexy gal or bad man. We're not doing that. It is 2021. The world is online. So too is your application process. So have a professional email address, first name dot last name at whichever mail carrier you choose. If that is not available, have some streamlined variation of your name for your email address. The next point, do follow instructions when applying. And this is going to be important. You don't want to leave out pertinent information in your application. So if the employer is asking you to answer a few filter questions as part of your application, don't leave it blank. Don't put not applicable. Don't say yes or no if they're asking you for a detailed response. Pay particular attention because remember, you want to increase your chances of moving along the recruitment process. You want to apply, and from there you want to get to the interview, then you want to get to the offer stage. So ensure that you follow instructions and don't leave out areas of your application that are requested. The 9th tip is don't hit the send button too soon. This is going to be probably your only chance to first get into the doors of your dream job. So ensure that you review all of the information, ensure that you have answered all of the questions, ensure that you've uploaded the correct resume to the application before you hit send. It's not a rush process because remember, we're looking to get our dream jobs here, and that's not going to be a rushed thing. So just ensure that you review everything first and don't hit the send button too soon. And then our last do will obviously be to sign up an account with CaribbeanJobs.com to ensure you get the best possible chance of landing your dream job. This is going to be a shameless plug because we have access to the top employers in the region. We host over 300 to 500 jobs on any one day throughout the English-speaking Caribbean. So why not? I mean, for you as a job seeker, it's absolutely free. And if you're an employer and you're looking to hire talent, this is where they are. So ensure that you have an account with us to maximize your chances of landing that dream job straight in your inbox. So with that said, really quickly, I'm gonna just segue into the last portion of my presentation today. And quickly, what I want to do is show you guys how to apply for jobs using our website. And I think that this is of critical importance because, as we would have said all along, more and more applying for jobs online has become a reality that you cannot escape from. Even employers who advertise still in the newspaper or who, will send you an email will still have to request that you apply through some online platform. So why not take advantage of it while you have it? All right. So the first thing that you want to do, step one, is open an account by registering. So if you log on to CaribbeanJobs.com, this is what the homepage is going to look like, some variation of this. And in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see register or log in. If you have an account already, great. You can follow the same steps. But if you don't, you click the register button. And that's going to take you to this page that says register with us. So the next step, you're going to create your profile using a valid email address. Remember, we're doing a professional email address as we would have given in our tips. So you fill out that information. So much like you would do if you're opening up an account, you put in your email address with a password, you confirm your password, and then when you click register, you're going to get shot an email to validate your account. So do that right away. And then you move to step 3. The third step will then be to start filling out your profile with information about your work experience and your qualifications. So here is where you will be adding your CV. You will be adding your cover letter. You can do that. So you can have a general one so that, you can adapt that to every job that you're applying for. And a big tip here is include as much information on your profile as possible. And I will tell you why, because the way that our system works, the algorithm on the back end is built in. The system will pull keywords from your profile and then start feeding you jobs that may interest you or that you're qualified for. So here on this page where you see jobs you might be interested in, those jobs are actually going to be based on information that's in your profile. We pull that information and then feed you jobs that we think will match that. So the more information that you have, the better it will be. But what this also does is ensure that employers, if they're going into our database and they are looking for you, they can find you based on the information that you have in your profile. Because if your profile doesn't have any information, then you won't show up in the search results. So just ensure that you spend some time and update your profile as much as possible. The next thing you want to do is sign up for job alerts. And what job alerts do is, again, similar to, or I should say in tandem with the algorithm that we have, is you can sign up for an alert. So let's say you're interested in any marketing positions that are going to be in Trinidad, Barbados, and Jamaica. You can actually put in a job alert so that anytime a marketing position becomes available in any of these countries, you'll get an email right away. And again, it really just helps you along the process of landing your dream job much easier and much more efficiently. The next thing now, you're all set up on your profile. Remember, it's free. You don't have to pay at all to sign up an account if you're a job seeker. Then you're going to start searching for jobs. You can either do so by location. So if you have a specific location that you'd like to search for or a specific country, you can. Or you can search for categories. So I like to search for categories because I know that I'm in marketing and I want to see all the jobs available throughout the English-speaking Caribbean. I don't need to be tied to one location because now in the world of COVID, we can do work remotely from anywhere. So I'd recommend you searching by location, but you can also search by category. And then from there, you apply for jobs that match your level of experience and qualifications. Just a reminder, you always apply for jobs that you are qualified for. Read through the job description, get as much details as possible. And just one more quick tip, up at the top where you see your name, you'll always want to click searchable. The default is set to hidden, but move that to searchable so that, again, if an employer goes into our database and they do a search for qualified marketing professionals, you will be able to come up in that search. So always set your profile to searchable so that employers can find you. You apply for your job and then you land your dream job. All right, so that is what I would have shared with you guys today. Of course, we have a whole host of other areas that we can cover, but those are what we will share today. I hope that you found this session useful, and just please follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, as well as LinkedIn. So with that, I'm going to hand over back to Omita, and I hope that you guys have been documenting your questions because I'd love to respond to them now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lerielle. That was such a comprehensive and in-depth conversation, presentation, instruction. I don't know what you want to call it.
Hope it wasn't too much.
No, I know you tried to capture as much as possible because it really was a very large topic. I really appreciated that you're now helping our viewers to see what are the industry trends. Because
Yes.
I know COVID would have really changed not just the way we work from home, but as you rightly said, everything else we do.
Correct. Correct.
Well, I took your instruction and I was busy with my pen and paper. So while we're waiting for some of those questions to come in, I have a couple of things that I wanted to clarify as well. And I'm seeing the questions are coming in here. I'm very happy about that. So all of our viewers, please make sure that your questions come in. Right. So I noticed here you were saying about the critical job skills in 2021. And I know it must have been difficult for you to size it down to just the top 10.
Yes.
But I think you did a pretty good job in clarifying all of this. And I see where there's a lot of overlap in what you're saying. And I was wondering, is it that persons should do additional, training, etc., to find out about the best way to communicate when they head into the world of work? Is that something you would recommend? For some persons, this may be their first job, or they might know it's an issue. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's first things first, you want to be mindful of these things so that you know that at the top of your mind, you want to ensure that you can communicate well. You want to ensure that you can think critically. Obviously, it's not something that every single person will master all 10. There's some things that some will be much stronger in. There are other things that, will be a work in progress. And these change as your career grows and as your roles change. But it's just to be mindful of these things that can contribute well to your organization. So I would say do your research. I forgot to mention as well that we have a career advice section on our website that gives a whole host of information on resume writing tips, interview tips, soft skills and how to master them, and really just do the due diligence. Listen, I'm 15 years in and I am still learning. I am still making mistakes. I am still, perfecting my craft. It's not something that happens overnight. And as professionals, you're continuously learning and growing. But it's just to be mindful of these things that you're contributing to the organization and really just being the best professional that you can be.
Great. So let's take the first question from our viewers. If one leaves their job willingly, what's an appropriate response to the employer when asked about why they left?
Yeah. So a very basic response will be because you want to expand your experience. You want to grow. This organization that you're applying for, you see a lot of room for growth and personal and professional development. So that is, I think that anyone would ultimately leave a job to be able to maximize on opportunities that are available. So once that is obviously the truth, that's quite all right to say you're looking to grow your horizons and your experience.
All right. I noticed that you said you must specify the job that you are applying for.
Right.
If it is that, and we're talking here in terms of your cover letter where you're specifying the particular job, should it be that I am interested in more than one position? Can I then say, I am applying for any position suitable?
I would advise against that. Try to get as specific as possible. So if you are applying, if an organization has multiple roles that are available and they are accepting an application for those multiple roles, then sure, you can list the multiple roles once you are qualified. But what I would recommend is curtail each application for each job that you are applying for. It just shows that you are invested, that you are doing the due diligence, but it also helps the employer to cut down on which job, which application you are applying to. So once you're very specific, it just helps them through the process as well.
Okay. If my qualifications don't match a job that I'm interested in, is it suggested that I still apply if it is I'm capable of performing the job?
Yeah. So you obviously have to know, if an employer is asking for 10 things and you have one of those 10 things, then I would probably recommend against that. But let's say the reality is the employer is asking for 10 things and you have 5 to 7 of those things, and those are, the really strong ones, then absolutely an employer is not going to expect an absolute perfect 10 out of 10 walking through their doors. Chances are they are aware that not everyone is going to be extremely and excellently qualified for each position. But the important thing is that you showcase your strengths, you showcase your experiences on your resume, and ultimately when you get to the interview process.
And basically give it a shot.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. I mean, there have been jobs that I have applied for that I probably had, maybe 5 out of those 10 qualifications, and I got it because I believed in myself and I sold myself. And I said, listen, I know I can do this job. Here is what I can do.
Wonderful, wonderful. I saw here you were encouraging people to be honest on your resume. How will your employer determine that you are lying?
So what I will say is it may not come out depending on what it is. If there are gaps, let's just use an example. If there are gaps in your work history and you don't have that listed on your resume, when you move to, let's say, a telephone interview or an in-person interview, they're going to ask you, okay, so you stayed at this job for 4 years, and in your mind you only stayed for 1. It will naturally come out, right? The important thing is, yes, and especially now in light of COVID, employers know that the chances of someone having a gap in their work history may be more of a reality. It's just important that you state that. And I'm not saying put in big bold letters, I am unemployed, but if there is a long gap in your work history, you'd want to ensure that you highlight that.
Okay, because that's actually the next question that I was going to bring up. How do you deal with the gaps in your application and your resume? You said not to leave things off. So
Yes.
what's the best way to make sure that you include that gap, or how is it best to showcase?
Yeah. So the best way to do that, and this is a tip which I didn't cover today, and I normally do on resume writing. So there are different types of resumes that you can, in terms of templates that you can use. So the functional resume is something that I will recommend for persons with gaps in their work history. So traditionally and mostly through the Caribbean, we use a chronological order, which is under the assumption that you're moving from one job to the next, so there are no gaps. But for persons that do have gaps in their work history, whether it's based on sabbatical or unemployment or sickness or whatever, you can then do it by tasks or by your strengths. So you can do a little bit of research on the functional resume and or the different styles of resume, which we also have on our career advice section. And these will help you to really showcase your skills versus your chronological work history.
Okay, so I actually have one more question from the chat, but I want to continue where you were speaking before I go to that. You mentioned just now the functional resume regarding a way of treating with gaps in your employment or your resume or your background, right? As we rightly have figured out, because of the pandemic right now, there are lots of persons who might be, let's say, either unemployed or between jobs, or perhaps they may have started off in a position and now when they are applying, they would have gotten through at a position that is at a lower level than where they left. So is it that in a situation like that, I know in a chronological resume, you would have to put your last position first and then go backwards. But in terms of showcasing your best self, is it that this is where you can also use a functional resume?
Correct. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. What you can do is based on the job that you're applying for, if you, in one of your previous roles, if that showcases your most qualified experience for the role that you're applying for, it's absolutely okay to put that at the top. But what I would also recommend for persons with gaps in their resume, another great thing that they can do is highlight their strengths or their top skills at the top of their resume, so that automatically, as soon as an employer looks at your resume, you can have skilled in Google AdWords, skilled in SEO, skilled in top skills, and if you list that, they can instantly see that, hey, this person could be a great fit for the organization.
Yes, I like that. I've seen some of those templates online, so it's good that you're saying that is actually acceptable. So let's see, the last question here is, how should I address, or how is an application that has a criminal record be addressed? How to address an application with a criminal record?
If it is something that the employer is asking for, again, as I would say, as part of the application process, then you'll have to answer that. So that would be my recommendation. That one is a little bit, I don't want to speak too much on that because I'm not entirely 100% well versed in that. But what I would recommend is, if it is asked in the application process, to include it.
Okay. Looking to see if there are any more questions coming in, because I know that you were very thorough in your presentation, and we more or less touch base on some of the key things that I think persons would be most interested in.
Great.
So I'm not seeing anything coming in here, but I had one last question, and then I believe we can close because we're heading into our allocation. Given that now a lot of things are happening virtually, is it that persons would more than likely be asked to attend a virtual interview? Or are you seeing that people are still being asked to come in and do a face-to-face interview?
Yeah. So this question, it really depends on a couple of things. First, obviously, the organization that you are applying to. It can also be the location of the organization, whether you're applying for a role in your country or not. It can also be based on the job role itself. So it really just depends on the organization. But what I can say is we are seeing lots of virtual interviews that are happening. As I would have mentioned earlier, our organization is 80 to 90% working remotely. So if we were doing an interview, it would be virtual. But other organizations are still doing in-person interviews, of course, adhering to all COVID-19 protocols. But virtual interviews, I think, is not just something that's trending, but I think it's going to be a part of our new reality as we move along. So I would definitely encourage individuals to do some research and getting prepared for virtual interviews. We also have tips on that too, but of course that is only so much we can share in one session.
Well, I'm just happy to know that you're able to advise persons that these are the key things that are important, and that you still have additional support through your website should they require this type of support.
Absolutely.
Let's see, I think I have one last question, and after that, we will be moving on for the day. Should one divulge medical information, for example, HIV or cancer, on an application?
I would say stay away from that, again, unless it is a part of the application process. I mean, obviously, listen, we are all individuals at the end of the day. All of us are going to have our unique things that are happening with us. What I would say as part of the application process, and this is why I included it as a do follow the instructions and answer it holistically. So once it is asked in the application process, do the due diligence. But if it's not a part of your initial application, then it's not necessary to do so.
All right. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our session today, and I want to give a heartfelt thank to you, Ms. Lerielle Cole Pierre from CaribbeanJobs.com.
It has been my absolute pleasure.
Thank you for your time and support. Before we conclude today, ladies and gentlemen, we wish to thank you for your continued support. We ask you to view all of our sessions on YouTube. We've had many sessions that have started since last year, I believe, at the start of this pandemic. Many valuable interviews, such as that which was done today. A lot of valuable insights. You can always feel free to go back and visit those sessions. And please be reminded that all of our sessions that will be upcoming, we will be sending you those invitations via all of our social media channels. We recommend that you please continue to wear your mask, stay safe. Everybody, please have a good day.
Thank you so much, Amita. You guys take care and stay safe.